You know what we learned last night? I was thinking about it. Last night we learned a very valuable lesson. It's contenders versus pretenders season. It is mid-February now. So the teams that are starting to make a move that we know are legit are going to continue to do so. And those teams that maybe are fake and had a good run or we thought were good and they really weren't are going to start to fall off. And I'll give you my examples. Seton Hall, legit contender. Xavier, pretender. Spread doesn't matter. Michigan State, legitimate contender. Our model had that. Shout out to Frank Brank, contender. Penn State, pretender. Clemson, legitimate team. I told you last time they can make a run. Miami, pretender. 77-60. Spread does not matter. And that's what you see. Arkansas had made a nice run trying to fight back here. Can teams win on the road? Yep, Tennessee can because they're a contender. Arkansas is certainly a pretender. And it goes all the way down to Colgate, who has established themselves yet again as the king of the Patriot League. 85-55 spread doesn't matter. So that's going to be our theme for our picks today. Contender versus pretender. We are not going to care about the spreads. We're going to go with the teams that we believe we need to hit. Here we go, guys. Get your comments in the chats. Ready to rock and roll. Again, we'll be back on Saturday morning, 9:30. Huge show on Saturday here at FTN. Major reason, we have the bracket preview show coming out, so you get a first look at the top 16 seeds. And, of course, we'll have another mammoth 150 games to go around and to get to you and give you your insight. Contender, pretender. Washington State is very good, folks. And people don't realize because they play out on the West Coast and nobody talks about them. Washington State is for real. I give Kyle Smith a ton of credit. He has taken a team there in Pullman, Washington, that is number 3 in the Pac-12 in adjusted defensive efficiency, number 1 in effective field goal percentage allowed. They've actually had some bad luck with teams making free throws against them, but they have won 8 of their last 9 games. They are on a 5-game winning streak. They are 9-4 there in the Pac-12, and now they face a California team that actually beat them away in overtime back on Saturday, January 20th. So again, contender, pretender for California, contender for Washington State. Payback here, 8.5 points. I don't care. Let's rock and roll. Remember, the picks in the beginning are my strongest picks. Those are the ones that are going to go in the bet tracker here at FTN. The other ones I do for you. We go around. We can go back and forth and talk about them. The loss of Ty Berry is huge. He has a torn meniscus. He is out for the rest of the year for Northwestern. So you have a Northwestern team here that has been playing well, that has been keeping things together, but now is missing a massive piece of their puzzle. They are 17-7, 8-5 Northwestern, but their last 4 games, Purdue away, lost in overtime. Minnesota away, lost in overtime. Nebraska home, won by 12. That's when Berry went out. And Penn State, they won but did not cover at home against Penn State. They are now, after going up and going down and struggling on the road here, loss at Minnesota, loss at Purdue, loss at Nebraska, loss at Wisconsin. Only game they won away here in conference was Penn State. And now they're playing a Rutgers team with Steve Pikiell, who you know is a great coach. They have struggled this year. They were 10-10, 2-7 in the Big Ten. And look at what Pikiell's done. Michigan beat them handily. Maryland away, won. Wisconsin home, blew them out. Here comes Northwestern. Line open at 2.5. It's up to 4.5. We're laying it. Why? Because I think Northwestern is a little bit of a pretender. And without Ty Berry, they do not have a lot of depth here. So you have a team going into a tough road environment down in Rutgers without one of their players who's averaging double digits. I will take Rutgers minus 4.5. We're going back to John Becker. Vermont is legit. We love Vermont. We love John Becker. I don't care about New Hampshire. And I get it. New Hampshire, this is a team they have not played yet. They lost to NJIT away. That was a bad loss for Vermont. And they beat UMBC away by 2 in a game they got buried at. I think they've learned their lesson. They have a 1-game lead over Bryant. I do not see John Becker and the Catamounts blowing this in the America East. They came off a fantastic run where they beat Binghamton away by 20. They beat UMass Lowell away. They beat Bryant away by 10. They blitzed Albany by 22. They beat Binghamton by 13. And they stumbled a little bit in their last 2 games. Vermont is for real. New Hampshire is not. I am taking Vermont here, especially at home against New Hampshire. I have the minus 10, and I'm also fine if you want to do the first half line as well, which I believe is 5.5. Contender, pretender. I don't think Colorado is good. Colorado has a lot of talent. We all talk about their potential, all this stuff, but we know that Mick Cronin gets it right. Colorado has lost 3 of their last 4. They lost away to Washington State and Arizona, fine. Then they come home against Arizona State and beat them, and then get their doors blown off at home against Arizona after Arizona just went triple overtime and is playing their second game in 3 nights there. They got crushed. Now they're facing a UCLA team under Mick Cronin who was screaming, yelling 6-10, 1-4. And since then, they have won 7 of their last 8 games. And the only game they lost was a 6-point game away at Arizona. They are playing well. Mick is a great coach. He gets rough around the edges and he's a little curmudgeon, but Mick does what he does. This is a big game for them against Colorado. I think they get the job done here at home. They now have a stretch of 3 straight home games. So don't look now, but the UCLA Bruins, who everyone liked at the beginning of the year and everyone got off the bus, could easily end up being 11-5 in the Pac-12 after this 3-game home streak against Colorado, Utah, and USC. I will take them as a slight underdog there. This one is not contender pretender. This one is actually a researched pick that makes no sense. UMBC plays at a super fast pace. UMBC plays at the 4th fastest pace of any team in college basketball. What I've noticed about UMBC is they play well on the road. They don't play well at home. Look at their road games here. Away at Vermont, lost by 5. Away at UMass Lowell, lost by 4. Away at Bryant, lost by 4 and scored 95 points. Away at Albany, scored 114 points and won. They play well at home. They play better at home away than they do at home. This is now a Binghamton team, maybe a little bit above their head. And if you look at the metrics, they're not great. They shoot 60% from the free throw line. They don't force a lot of turnovers. They're not good from 3-point range. They've won some. They've lost some in their last few games. I think it's a coin flip game, and UMBC plays well on the road. We will take them plus 4.5. Tulane at home plus 2.5 against SMU. Tulane is good at home, and they score a ton of points. And now here comes SMU, a team that they just played back on Thursday, February 1st at SMU and only lost by 4. So it's a payback spot. It's a second spot. Tulane under Ron Hunter can shoot. They're great from inside the arc. They don't turn the ball over here against SMU. And SMU is not great. I love Zurich Phelps. I think he's one of the most underrated players in college basketball for SMU, but their numbers are not great. They're not great from the field. They're not great in the defensive boards. They're physical. They're aggressive. But Tulane can score at home, and I think that's what matters here. I will take them as a slight underdog. Contender, pretender, I think Radford is very good, and they're well coached. Radford has been up and down this year, but this is the quintessential payback spot here. They played away at Winthrop back on January 13th, and they lost Radford in 3 overtimes, 92-88. They still shoot the 3 well. They're very disciplined. They're tough to beat at home, and they don't give up leads. They have lost Radford 3 straight games, Charleston Southern, USC Upstate, and Presbyterian. Terrible losses, which is why we believe in the bounce back spot here against a Winthrop team who, although they beat them the first time, has lost 5 of 7 themselves. So you have a reeling Radford team, you have a reeling Winthrop team, and you have a Radford team that is well coached, that is disciplined, that is playing at home, and needs the game. Here in the Big South, Radford is 3-7. Winthrop is 6-5. So you're going to say to yourself, why is Radford favored? Because I think Radford gets the job done at home. Contender, pretender, we are heading towards an America East battle between Bryant and Vermont, and Bryant is not going to stumble here against Maine. Bryant versus Vermont is the game that's going to be coming up. I believe it's on February 22nd. That's the matchup that we're waiting for that's going to determine the America East. And now you have Bryant going against Maine, a Maine team that just beat them 79-72 away. Payback spot at home. The next game is UMass Lowell, and the next game after that is Vermont. So there's no look ahead. Bryant scoring up and down the floor, like them here, -6.5. Scott Cross, we're rolling, and we're going to score a lot of points tonight. Root beer today. Troy and Arkansas State both like to score. Arkansas State is horrific at defending the 3. Terrible. One of the worst teams in the country at defending the 3-pointer, and that's what Troy does. They press you. They get up and down. They turn you over. I think they're going to score. I think Arkansas State is going to score because they got super quick point guard who gets up and down the floor. But I think in the end, Troy gets it done. So I will take Troy -6.5. Scott Cross covers over Arkansas State. They're going to play them again in a week or so. So this could be a payback spot for Arkansas State in the next game. And I will take the over here of 154.5. East Carolina is the better team than Wichita State. Wichita State plays well at home and is up for the challenge, but I have not been happy what I've seen from Paul Mills. And listen, Paul Mills is going to need some time. He came out from Oral Roberts. He's got to rebuild this program. They're coming off a terrible loss to Florida Atlantic. They played East Carolina at home and they lost by 2. I think East Carolina is the better team. I think East Carolina, especially at home, they are great at forcing turnovers. I think they're going to turn over Wichita State here. I don't like their talent. I don't like Wichita State's turnovers. And I think their offense can really struggle. So I will take East Carolina -1.5 here at home. Next up, let's see. We got the questions. Let's get to the questions right now. We're flying in. 10-team parlay. We'll see, Mike. We'll see if we can get you that answer here at the end of this. Yeah, Wisconsin, Green Bay, Trevor. You know what it is? Northern Kentucky is the king of the conference until further notice. So they came out, they showed up, they played really well. I'm going back to Wisconsin, Green Bay. I don't care. It was a tough one. Leg Show, I haven't had you for a while. Hello, great to see you here. Long time no see. It's exactly right, Trevor. Let's see what we got here. Binghamton -2.5 in the first half. It could be fine. I just noticed, Leg Show, that Maryland, Baltimore County, that they tend to play well on the road. That's why I went for that one as well. UMBC is 4-1 against Binghamton. At Binghamton last 5. It could be possible. I just think the 4.5 is way too much as well. Yeah, and we're going to get to FAU also too against Temple as well. Don't worry about that as well. Yeah, KB says that Bryant wins. Yeah, I think Bryant wins as well. Let's see, LeBron, we're ready to rock and roll. Let's get some good picks. Yeah, I got the ones at the top. Let's see what it is and see how we do today. Going back here. So we got that. Stony Brook can always score, and Hampton can't play defense. So Stony Brook at home is a very good team in terms of producing points. Stony Brook also has been up and down and has allowed some points as well. Stony Brook just 13-12 right here. And in the CAA, numbers are good, but they don't defend very well. Now, here comes Hampton, who is lethal on defense and plays at a fast pace. So I love the target overs for teams that are bad on defense, allowing 35% from three-point range, allowing 53%, terrible on the boards, and they play at a super fast pace, which is Hampton. They are number 70 in the country and the second fastest team in the CAA. So we're going over there with those two teams. I like Appalachian State, and this is a contender-pretender situation. I just don't know if App State, they did beat Auburn, but they've had some very head-scratching losses, not enough to make me think that they're going to beat a Marshall team by 10 points here, 11 points rather. Georgia Southern away, overtime, 1-1. Texas State away, lost by 7. Toledo home, I know it's not in conference, 2 overtimes, they win. Now here comes Marshall. Marshall's up and down, but you know Dan D'Antoni does a good job. A lot of points here for a team against App State, who is slow, grinding, and methodical. Marshall can do some damage. Marshall can make some shots here. I don't know about this one. Just too many points for me to lay, and I'm not going to do it. Delaware is good. Elon is not. This is contender-pretender. I think Elon is just brutal, to be honest. They are 3-9 in the CAA. Now they're playing Delaware. Delaware needs this game. They are 8-4, but they're going to want to get a good seed for the tournament there. They are tied at 8-4 with Hofstra and Townsend and Drexel. Charleston and UNC Wilmington are at 9-3. They're one game ahead of everybody. So if you're looking at Delaware, you think you still have a shot here because you have Charleston coming up. You have Drexel coming up. You have a winnable game at home against Northeastern. So they feel they're in the mix. They're only one game back. They're not going to stumble here at Elon. So I'll lay the points, contender-pretender. South Dakota State has been the absolute class of the summit for God knows how long. And South Dakota State under Eric Henderson has positioned himself in the summit again to rock and roll. They are 7-3. They are half game up on North Dakota. Now they are playing UMKC. I do not trust UMKC down in Kansas City, Missouri to do anything here. Especially they are home. I get that against South Dakota State. They played away and they lost by 9. But South Dakota State now is favored in their last 6 games. So they got 2 road games coming up now. Nebraska, Omaha, I get that could be a rivalry game with South Dakota. I understand that. But I don't think they slip up here. So it's 4.5. I don't care. Sometimes it's 5, 5.5. But we saw last night Gardner Webb got it done. I'm going to lay the points here as well. Contender, pretender. I love Louisiana. They have come on very strong. We have talked about them on this show. Love Louisiana here in this spot. Louisiana with the super quick point guard and what they've done since the loss to Troy, which was only 6 points back on January 10th. They have reeled off. They are 8-1 in their last 9 games, and they are now sitting at 8-4 here in the Sun Belt. So they are 8-4. They're a game behind James Madison. They want to get one of those top 4 seeds. App State, Troy, all of them are bunched up. But Arkansas State Louisiana has done a nice job with the run here. They beat Arkansas State twice. They beat Texas State twice. Bowling Green now in the neutral game, the game that was not a conference game at home. They won that game by 26. They're playing super well. And we know Old Dominion, rough Jeff Jones seems to be getting healthy, doing well. God bless him. just not the level that they're normally at. It's a lost season for Old Dominion at 6-19, 2-10, and they played Central Michigan, which isn't great at home, and they lost that one as well. So I think it's a close game because it's a conference game, but I think Louisiana does pull away at the end. Contender pretender Merrimack is really good. Their 2-3 zone causes a ton of problems. Stonehill can't shoot. They can't shoot threes. I don't care. Stonehill is one of the worst teams I've seen in college basketball. Merrimack wants to keep rolling here. I don't think they stumble as well. I mentioned this one before, just in case New Hampshire keeps it close in the first half. It's not one of my top plays, but I'm going Vermont -5.5 against New Hampshire. Also not one of my top plays because you know that my feeling about laying a lot of points, you can get backdoor covered. We got backdoor covered with Bradley. We hit the Bradley first half line. We hit the Bradley over, but we got backdoor covered on the Bradley full game yesterday. So 21.5 is a lot, but UNC Wilmington is just really good, and they're not stumbling here. Also, you guys know I'm taking Temple against Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic just plays no defense whatsoever. I hate Temple, but I'm just going to blindly bet the team getting points against Florida Atlantic until proven otherwise. In fact, Florida Atlantic, if you're looking at it, is also in a look-ahead spot because they have a game coming up against South Florida, who I love, away on Sunday. So they're going this Sunday to South Florida as well. You know I'm taking South Florida there. Big game. This could be a sleepy spot. They covered against Wichita on Sunday with us, but the game went to overtime, and you're getting 8 points in overtime. You should take that one as well. They lost to UAB. They did cover against Tulsa, but not against North Texas, not against Texas San Antonio, and not against Wichita State at home, et cetera, et cetera. So I'm taking Temple plus the 19.5. Contender, pretender, Northeastern can be frisky at home. Charleston's just really good. Charleston's a better team. Northeastern has won a couple games and done well at home. They turn the ball over. You're not turning over Charleston. Charleston is better. They're well coached. They're going to get the win. They're going to beat them there. Coastal Carolina at home is always dangerous. Georgia Southern is not a good team. Coastal at home is a short spread is what I love to bet. Cliff Ellis, really good coach, has been there forever. Just a struggling season. We get that, but Coastal is still dangerous. And Georgia Southern has done nothing to distinguish themselves. They are terrible against the three. They're terrible on the defensive boards. Teams have actually missed free throws against them, which has been a benefit. This, to me, is a Coastal Carolina easy win at home against Georgia Southern. I'm not sure about Louisiana Tech. Jacksonville State can be very frisky. They have size. They can get inside. They can battle you there. In Conference USA now, they're playing a Louisiana Tech team that they played at home and lost by 17. So this is the battle back spot. This is the bounce back spot. Jacksonville State, average size in the top 90th. They have 78 inches in terms of average side across their front line, which means they're good on the boards. They're good on the offensive boards, good on the defensive boards. And even though they're not great on offense, I'm not thrilled with Louisiana Tech, who also plays slow. Two teams that play slow, points at a premium. Louisiana Tech also coming off 2 consecutive losses to Western Kentucky and Liberty. I know you're thinking bounce back. I just don't know if it's 11 points worth of bounce back. We're taking them there. Stanford beat Washington the first time, so I'm going with Washington -4.5 this time. If you look, Stanford's history at Washington has not been good. They have struggled going up there as well. They're also a little shorthanded right now, so Washington -4.5 as well. I like the way New Jersey Institute of Technology has been playing. Their guards have been fantastic. You know, those guards are going to be in the transfer portal next year, and people are going to want them very badly. Tariq Francis has been fantastic. I could see him going to the transfer portal as well. Look at what NJIT has done. They went away at UMBC. They played away at Binghamton. We backed them. We lost that one. Fine. They beat Vermont at home by 2, and they beat UMass Lowell by 7. So in essence, NJIT has beaten the 2 best teams year in and year out in the America East, and now they're playing Albany, a team that they lost to at home by 6. I know the game's on the road. I think NJIT keeps it close. I will take the 4.5 as well. Contender, pretender, Western Kentucky is still in the race for the conference title here for Western Kentucky. So I think they take care of business at home. Western Kentucky in Conference USA is sitting at 6-4. They are a half game behind Louisiana Tech, a half game behind Sam Houston State. I do not think they stumble here against UTEP. Western Kentucky played UTEP away and lost 93-87. So you have a team that's in the battle for the Conference USA title, that's only 1 game back, that defends the 3 very well and is shooting 40% from three-point range within conference play. And now they're playing a UTEP team that beat them already. This one probably should have been a little higher, guys. One of my strongest picks for the night. Let's see what else I got. Did I give you that one? A couple more to go. Central Connecticut State, also one of the top teams in their conference. They're not stumbling at Lemoyne. Not worried about this game on the road. Lemoyne can be frisky, but Central Connecticut is 9-2 in the Northeast Conference. They are tied with Merrimack. I expect Merrimack to take care of business, and I expect Central Connecticut to take care of business. These two teams are headed towards being tied here in the Northeast Conference. And John Rothstein talked about this. Teams that win the regular season usually get an automatic bid, at least to the NIT. That is no longer the case here. So these teams are going to want to win the regular season, because if they don't get the bid, they at least want to hang the banner, and they want to win the conference tournament. I understand that. But this is now a big, big deal, because it's not guaranteeing the postseason. So you want to hang a banner at least. Contender, pretender, Charlotte at home, -13 against Texas San Antonio. Disciplined. Aaron Ferns just got the interim tag removed from him. Good for him. Great defense. Battle-tested. Strong. Like this team a lot. And metrically, they're very good as well in the American. Charlotte lost to South Florida away, which is rough. But outside of that, they have won 9 of their last 10 games. Really strong on defense. Don't turn the ball over. Don't hurt themselves. A lot of points for a team that plays slow. I just think they're better. Bounce back spot. Middle Tennessee State has been a disappointing team this year, but they lost at New Mexico State in a very close game. Now New Mexico State, who has been competitive, but is yet to really get over the hump and win a tough road game, is going back across the country to Middle Tennessee State. Tough place to play. Murfreesboro. Good defensive team. Both teams can turn the ball over a lot. -2.5. I'll take the team that I think is going to win. In case you missed this one with Rothstein, Loyola Marymount only has 6 scholarship players available tonight. They have a couple injuries, issues across the board here, sicknesses. So I'll take Gonzaga -14.5. Normally this would have been a stay away. I think it's up to 15.5. I don't think Gonzaga is struggling here. They're coming off the big one over Kentucky, but Loyola Marymount only 6 scholarship players. And you know my thoughts on Stan Johnson. So we're laying it there. Also like Abilene Christian and UT Rio Grande Valley over 150.5. Look at the scores of these two teams when they play. Last year, one of them hit 100. Earlier this year was 80-80 when it was in overtime, and they ended up pushing and continuing on and getting extra points afterward. So I got it at 150.5. I expect this number to rise. I think both teams can easily get to 80 in this matchup. And if not, then one is going to get to 85, and I think that's fine as well. There's one other game I want to make sure that I want to get to. I don't know if I had it here. Did I put it up? I'm positive. I know I was talking about it earlier because I was in the Discord talking about it as well. I'll get to your questions and I'll get back to it. It's the Sam Houston State game. That's the one that I'm focusing on tonight. I forget where that's at. Yeah, Sam Houston State. I think it's 6. FIU is horrific. Sam Houston State atop the 6-3 with Louisiana Tech in Conference USA. They have Liberty coming up, New Mexico. They have a ton of tough games, but they've lost their last 2. Sam Houston State, the Bearcats, at home, coming off 2 straight losses against a horrific FIU team. I think they get the job done here and crush them. So this one is 6. I'm taking this one as well. So you can add that one to your card. Sam Houston State -6.5. Let's get to the questions here. Yep. FAU has USF on deck, Trevor. That's the issue as well. LeRon, great call. That number is dropping, which of course, late movement is good movement for us. So I think we're going to be in good shape there. Their guards are really, really good. Yeah, KB, I think Charleston's being Northeastern. Northeastern can be good at home, and they can pop up and have some difficult games and good matchups. But Charleston has too much to play for here. They cannot stumble. Charleston cannot mess around here. They want to make a run. They're starting to get better. They struggled twice against UNC Wilmington. That's some bad losses. They got to get the job done here and not worry about it. You know, LeRon, my issue with LeRon, such a good question. You know my thoughts on Monmouth. I like Monmouth, but sometimes they play teams that are inferior to them and they don't blow them out. I didn't put this one on the card because of that reason. However, what I will say is Monmouth is coming off a horrific loss to Northeastern. So if you're going to take them against an inferior opponent, now is the time. I think it's 7, something like that. I kind of like Monmouth, but I worry about them because when they play substandard teams, William & Mary, Hampton at home, they didn't cover. They're great at Seton Hall. They're great against Charleston. They're tough against UNC Wilmington, but they tend to play to their opponent, which is why I didn't put this one on the card. You got that. I think that's it, guys. Yeah, I think we got it covered. Remember, thank you so much. Like, share, tell a friend, go to someone. This is about conversation. The key is, I do think, and I've said this over and over again, the bettors in today's world, all of you guys who are joining the show, guys and girls, you come to the show with your own opinions. You have games that you like, that you don't like. Of course, you can tail favorite plays and stuff like that, and you want to. That's fine. We have great people in the Discord. But the key is to talk about it. You talk about what you like. I talk about what I like. And then we move through the day and see. And maybe we get hot, we add, or we don't. The key is the community. The key is the family. Thank you for joining us. Saturday morning, 9:30. We'll be ready to rock and roll. The show has been lights out the last 2 weeks. Let's get those views up as always. And today, let's get some winners and get to the window.